Over the past 9 years, there has been a 183% increase in the number of heroin overdoses. Researchers have claimed heroin has started to take the place of crack cocaine because it is cheaper on the street and there's a large supply of it. In Ohio, young adults between the ages of 23 and 36 are the most at risk for trying and getting dependent on heroin. Heroin was a drug that had a major impact on America through the 1970s, where in New York City there were over 900,000 reports of individuals using heroin. Nowadays, this problem with heroin is not only surfacing in the inner city, but has spread to the surrounding greater Cincinnati suburbs.
If you were to look at Cincinnati on a map, you would see that there is a highway that circles around the downtown area from the northern suburbs all the way to the Ohio River, which separates Ohio from Kentucky. These suburbs, that are both inside and outside of the circle, are considered to be part of the greater Cincinnati area. There is a northeastern suburb that lies just off the highway I-275 that is called Loveland.
Loveland is home to more than 12,000 people and has a historical background that can be traced back to the late 1700s. Change must begin to take place to prevent heroin from impacting any more homes in the area. The Loveland community and the greater Cincinnati area as a whole is faced with a large obstacle to overcome because the police department has not been able to control the drug problem. New approaches need to be found to put an end to this epidemic and to keep the Loveland community thriving. In a recent news report, a woman named Michelle Conda, a professional pianist who taught at the University of Cincinnati, was driving home on a scooter and got hit by a car because the driver had fallen asleep due to a heroin overdose. She was temporarily paralyzed and is still in recovery. It was shocking to hear Michelle Conda talk about how she did not wish for the man to go to jail, but instead, he should get treatment. It arises the question, what is the best way to handle this problem? Heroin is made from the extracts of the Asian opium poppy plant and is very addictive because it is processed from morphine. Since over 23% of the first-time users become addicted, the ability to get dependent is much higher than that of other narcotics. The individual's drive for more and more constantly grows as they use, which leads to fatal overdoses because the fluctuating purity levels make it easy to take too much. Some ideas have been proposed about targeting the dealers in order to prevent this vicious cycle from spreading any further. But some critics say that the only way to attack this problem is by informing the public and promoting prevention.
Keep their hands up. Don't be digging around, gang.
Every night, drug agents take to the streets in a desperate fight against the rising flow of heroin from south of the border.
Just swear out. Put your hands on the back of your head.
A war on drugs that has no end. A battle even the police know can never be won.
Anything illegal on you, though? Nothing?
Nearly 500,000 Americans are thought to be addicted to heroin, and Nicole is one of them. Locked up in the county jail for stealing to feed her habit.
There's a very, very large epidemic of it. I don't think these police officers know how bad it really is out there. I really don't. If they even knew half of what we went through a day, I think there'd be more police officers.
The next scenes are from an interview with a man named Chris Fred, who has personal experiences with the heroin epidemic.
We were skating around, and a couple of our buddies came over and they started skating with us. And right next to the skate park is actually the basketball courts, and I'd say about 20 yards away is like a bathroom. And a couple of the young kids came over to us, and they were like, hey, they were over at the basketball court playing basketball, and they told us that they thought somebody was doing drugs in the bathroom. So we're like, all right, dude, we'll go check it out. So we went over there, and as soon as we walk in, there's one kid just sitting on the counter, just already acting all weird and like messed up. And then there was two people in the stall. So we went over to the stall and like we just opened it, and one kid was sitting on the ground just like all messed up, and the other kid was in the middle of putting the syringe in his arm. So obviously we all kind of freaked out. We're like, dude, like what's going on here? And we went off on him, and so we told him to get out of here. That it wasn't cool to be doing that, obviously, right around where kids are playing basketball. So when they left, one of my buddies called the cops, and I guess they were walking around Loveland all messed up, and they ended up getting arrested. So, I mean, it was pretty weird to see that happening, especially at a skate park right there.
Do you know of anyone or anyone's friend who has used heroin or has gotten addicted to heroin in Loveland?
I actually had one friend, I'm not going to say his name, but he ended up doing heroin around about his junior year, and he was a good friend of mine all throughout high school, but I mean, he kind of just started to go off the charts. We used to play basketball together and football. And then he started getting on heroin and just wouldn't even hang out with his friends anymore, wouldn't even come to play basketball, just stopped doing a lot of things, became really distant. And he ended up having to go to rehab for about, I think it was like 6 months. So, I mean, it was a hard time to his life. I mean, he's clean now, which is cool and awesome. So.
The narcotic known as heroin not only possesses characteristics that lead to a high chance of addiction, but the user's ability to break the addiction is less as likely. The ability to break the addiction needed to be researched about because the only way to break this cycle is to eliminate the demand for heroin. In a journal article about a new intensive injectable heroin treatment that is being designed to help drug addicts who are unable to recover using the traditional drug treatments, it is proven to be more effective in reducing heroin dependence. The question is, how will we make a change in this community? Because the future is up to us.